Leaves are turning colors on my walkabout in the garden now. Shed Wars is ending on the 26th. The weather guessers, as of yesterday, they said no, you're not getting any more frost for this month. Checked this morning and they have a dip in temperature coming for the 24th. The nighttime low is supposed to get down to 1 degree Celsius, so in that case we'll probably have a frost, patchy frost, on the 24th, unless that changes again. So last year was about this time that I said, forget it, I'll take everything up, even though we didn't get our first frost until the 22nd. And that's what I'm going to do this year, considering that Shed Wars is ending on the 26th. Since the temperature was going cool, but rutabagas, they grow in really low temperatures, eh? And the bugs that were eating the leaves, they slowed right down, and you got some really beautiful leaves, new leaves on the rutabaga now. They're still growing, but they won't grow a whole lot more, so I'll just take them up. Along with the sugar beets. These I'll leave here. Brussels sprouts. Some of them are getting to be fairly nice size for this time. So I'll keep an eye on them, and I'll probably be picking them in December. That cauliflower back there started to try, looked like it was actually going to go and give me a head, but it didn't. And I'll leave the cabbage until we start to get some heavier freezes. The beets, I'm disappointed because I wanted to get some big beets and put them in those wide mouth jars so that I could make like beet sandwiches, and I'm not going to get those type of beets. Now I'm going to have plenty of beets, more than I'm going to use, but still I'm not going to get the big ones that I was wanting, so I'm unhappy about that. This is the last of the known potatoes. This is Kennebec. I did record my harvesting of the other ones, so I'll put all of the potato harvest footage into one video. The savory grew beautifully this year. That's coming to a nice beautiful bush. I planted some cilantro here, and this is all that come of it. Not worth, well, I guess I'm talking about it, ain't I? I'm going to say not worth talking about, but that's all I got. Of course, got lots of parsley here and catnip. The calendula done okay here. The back there in the corner, Helicampaign, that didn't do very well. And the oregano doesn't do very well in there. I may put something else there. I have other bunches around the garden, as you know. Sage done very well this year. I'm thinking about taking up that lavender over there, but that'll yet to be seen. Those two are growing nicely. Seeded on this is turning quite brown, so maybe this year I might be able to take this in and see what the seeds are like, pick it apart and inspect what a seeded for echinacea looks like. These are July the 6th. It was actually, I was checking my records, I was saying it was July the 4th. I planted these on July the 6th, and they're all starting to fade now. I did check down among them right here, and there was a really nice russet potato right here. So I know there's potatoes down there. I've been letting this one slowly die anyway. We got yesterday we got 45 millimeters of rain. But prior to that, we didn't get any rain in October, and just letting this one slowly die. It's in just plain soil, so it dries out, right? This, I'm leaving it here now. It's gone far enough. This is a nightshade, relative of tomatoes. And so, I did check one of the berries, and it was still firm. So it was bitter. Apparently you're supposed to let them go soft. Now, because they're a relative of tomatoes, I'm thinking I should be able to bring them in and let them finish ripening just on shelf in the house. So what I want to find out now is what will kill them. Some of the leaves is starting to fade, but then some of them are still very healthy. The greater percentage of the leaves are still very healthy actually. Those that are starting to fade were the ones that got that little coating of frost earlier. So I don't know if this fading look is because of the long-term cold, or is it like the temperatures are down below what this plant is normally growing in, or is it just because those leaves were weakened by that little bit of frost. So we're still waiting to see what actually will kill garden knuckleberry with respect to cold. Now I'm very happy with it. There's berries all over it, and if it wouldn't set back by the heat in late July, early August, I would have had a ton of berries off this. And I mean, look at all the flowers that's on it. It's just loaded in flowers everywhere. So I'm very pleased with this plant, and like I've been saying, it's just a matter of protecting it from that setback that it had in July, August. Some of the tomato plants are starting to fade. You see the yellowing in there. I'm going to harvest all of the tomatoes, green or not. Then I'll leave the plants here so that we can see how long the plants will actually live and record what temperature will kill a tomato plant, right? Got a new mushroom. I think this is the fairy ring mushroom, which is another edible mushroom. This would be the outer edge, and the mushroom will go in around, probably partially in the that potato bed there. It's not a very big ring yet. Weeded out this mustard seed bed. So next year I have to take care of this. This is one of the plans for next year. The first year I grew mustard seed, I done very well. And then last year I didn't do very well. And this year I didn't do very well. But I was just basically letting them do their thing, right? And seeing how they would grow just as a reseeding annual. But next year I'm going to make this bed nice and smooth, put some compost on top, and I'll probably set some seeds deliberately, because once I put the compost on top, how many of the seed that fell will resprout. But thin them out and take care of them, get them to grow really nicely, and see how much mustard seed I get. I'm going to be moving those strawberries around pretty soon. Don't know what we'll find here. This is sugar beets. It's like one of those things, right? It's a root crop. You don't know what you're going to get until you dig it up. I know this one's going to be good. This is Brussels sprouts. I am not going to harvest anything from this one, because what I want to do, and I don't know exactly how you're supposed to go about it, but leave that one there, and next year it'll come back and go to seed. So because I don't know all the exact way of doing it, I'm just going to leave it and let it do its thing. Which is what I done actually with the one that was over there, and that's where this seed come from. With the onions, yeah, I'm not going to get a very much of an onion harvest this year, but we can't call it a failure because we were actually doing an experiment. Last year I put some onions in among plants over there and they didn't do very well. Onions in among plants here didn't do very well, and once they got out into full sun they did do well. So onions need full sun. You can't plant taller plants around them. I don't know if you could plant them in spaces among a ground cover or not, but those leaves have to be up into full sun for them to grow any sense. And beans are another thing. I haven't gotten a good harvest from beans, but it's just because I haven't been caring for them properly, I think. So along with the mustard seed, beans is another thing that I have to really pay better attention to next year, and I think I'll get a lot of beans. I might have to make a couple extra beds, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and the next thing you got a big huge garden, eh? I'm very happy with the cosmos. I'll be collecting a lot of seed and seeing where I can put those next year. One flower opening on the sunchokes. That probably won't be harvested. No, I'm not going to harvest that for Shed Wars. I'm going to wait until early November sometime to see what's down there. And these are drying up. So the seeds are maturing. This one's got a lot more dry in it. Oh, and I do have a few pods of soybeans. The elecampane here, that's not elecampane, but see the leaves? Looks like they done very well down here. Now we're in the bed beside the driveway. I'm not really expecting them to flower until next year anyway, but the leaves, they come out very nicely down here. I just lost 2 of the 6 that I planted here, and so they'll be there. I think I plant some of the strawberry plants that I'm moving down here as well. We have a difference. You see, here's Juliet cherry. That's the pear tree right there. And then we go just the other side of the smoke bush. And here's Romeo cherry. You would think that they would both start to turn at the same time, but they're not. And they're only, if it's 20 feet apart, that's all they are, right? So that's the difference. When you're talking about microclimates, I'm assuming that is a microclimate. It could be a difference in the soil, but you don't have to go very far to make a huge difference in the plant you're trying to grow. Out by the front fence, I'm mowing the meadow some more. Oh, the meadow had gotten so deep. I didn't realize how deep the grass was. Oh, I forgot. It's a little tiny grape, but it's ripe. Let's see what it tastes like. Ooh, that's sweet. That's a delicious grape. When they get going, I'll have some tasty grapes. You see outside, I've got over to this far now when I was mowing the meadow. So I'll make a deep mulch here, and if I want to plant a seed, like I say, I'll just make a little hole in the mulch and plant the seed. Otherwise it'll be transplants I'll be potting down here all along the fence line here. The nasturtiums done fairly well. I think I took 4 or 5 gallon bucketfuls of apples from this tree, and as I said, it was just the good ones. They're still falling. And there's some really, see, these are bruises, that's from the fall, right? Really beautiful apples on this tree. I picked them up. It was 20 pounds I picked up the other day. I wanted to make some apple cider vinegar, actually. But I come out and there were so many of the very nice apples laying all over the ground. You see another one that just, it's got the blemishes from actually falling from the tree, hitting the other branches. And if we look up, there's still quite a few apples up there. Now, I'm not fighting for apples. Last year I was trying to see how much I can harvest, and this year I'm just taking the good ones. There's so many little bitty apples, and the little bitty ones usually have the spots on them like that all over. The only animal here now that I know that takes the apples, the mammals, that is, the bigger animals, are the squirrels. They have lots to take here this year, but of course the apples only last so long, so it's only going to feed them for a couple months. But I'm really happy with this on only the apples that are really in the sheltered area. Gets the spots on them. It's kind of resistant to that fungus that gets on the apples, and it usually produces very well. The Ida red apple tree, which I got a lot of apples off last year, they were just buried in that fungus this year, and I found 6 apples that was worth keeping or something. Even though it gave a lot of apples, but they were all just, no, they were just too bad gone with the fungus to bother keeping. The one up on the cliff, it put out kind of a mediocre amount this year. And they were pretty good. They're fairly good with resistant to that fungus as well. And a very good apple. So now I'll harvest everything up today and tomorrow, I guess. And then I'll concentrate. I've got to get the poles, all the poles for to do the raspberry cages. Of course, I got the red raspberries here, and I need to do something with the golden raspberries that's over by the trees over there. Also, I want to put an archway over the path that goes up to the cliff there, and I want to do something with for the grapes that's down by the house. So I got a bunch of poles that I need to get, and of course I need to keep collecting firewood. Even though I got the basement full now, I need at least one more cord to make sure I got enough to go through the winter. And then, well, it's better for me to collect firewood in the winter rather than do it when I got all this gardening work to do. I said in the last tour video would be the last tour, and it kind of is. This one was just a little show you the last little bits that's in the garden before I pull them up today. Hope you enjoyed that, and hope to see you in the next video, which will be harvesting videos, I would assume. Thanks for watching.